So let's talk about inflation. Understanding cost of living. So what is inflation? Inflation is a term used to describe the overall increase in the price of goods and services across an entire economy. It's not just the price of one or two things you buy, but the general rise in how much everything costs. So when inflation happens, you can expect things like food, housing, and healthcare to get more expensive. But it doesn't just happen to things in one store or one type of item, it's taking place across the entire country. So imagine you've been buying a loaf of bread for $2.50, but one day that price goes up to $2.75. So that's a price increase. But inflation is more than just what that price change is on the bread. Inflation is the measure of how fast those prices, like the price of bread, increases on average over time. So when people are talking about inflation, they're not just speaking about the rise of costs, they're talking about how quickly those prices rise within a period or context of time. So how does this affect the economy? Inflation affects almost every part of the economy. If the prices of goods and services increase, people need more money to buy the same things that they were able to buy before. You know this if you've ever had to purchase anything for your household. This means your paycheck doesn't go as far as it used to, even if you're making the same amount of money. And when inflation hits every sector of an economy and everything is rising, that paycheck gets smaller and smaller and smaller, even though you're doing the same amount of work, which should have the same amount of value. But as inflation rises, the cost of living goes up too, making it very hard for people to just simply afford the things they need. And we're not talking about luxuries, we're talking about basic necessities. The three areas that are usually hit the hardest by inflation are housing, healthcare, and food prices. Housing prices have been increasing because of higher demand for homes and limited supply, which has already made buying a home or even renting more expensive. But now that the cost of those materials used in building homes and apartment buildings will be hit by tariffs at every level, that is going to increase the divide between affordability and cost to produce. In healthcare, when healthcare costs rise, everything from your doctor's visit to the Band-Aid to the prescription medications get more expensive. Premiums and out-of-pocket costs also increase, again, making it very difficult for people to pull from this already dwindling pot of money to get what they need. Food prices go up because of things like the higher raise of transportation costs, the effect of weather and supply shortages. When you add these natural factors onto inflation and what's happening with tariffs in the economy, struggles are going to be there. We are not going to be able to afford the things we need.